Good evening, race fans. Welcome to the Core Racing Network. Tonight we got live coverage of round number 6 for the Casual Sim Racers League GT Series, and we head north of the border to Canada to the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, and this place is on an island, quite literally. We are going to be racing around the island here up in Canada, and it's not technically a street circuit. It is a road course, but it has pretty much every characteristic of a street circuit. It's certainly tight in a lot of areas. Passing is going to be at a premium. There's certainly some opportunities. You see it right there coming down into the final chicane. Long straightaway leading in there can be a potential passing zone, and maybe one or two others if you're brave enough to late brake, you can get some passing done. But other than that, it's going to be just avoiding those walls, avoiding damage, avoiding any kind of chaos. Obviously, the first lap, first couple turns, it can be really tight and tricky and treacherous going through the first little sector right there. But should be a good one here. Again, we are in the second half of the season now for CSRL, so things are starting to shape up as we had a great race last week at Interlagos, and I'm sure this one's going to be just as good here tonight. Carl Hamrick joined in the booth by Joe Sullivan. Joe, north of the border here, and word on the street is you had a little bit of time to get some practice in here this week.
I did. Back-to-back weeks here, Carl. I mean, new tracks I've never been to, and just like last week was very scenic, very nice track, very fun track. The same here again. I mean, I didn't even know it was on an island until just before we started here, and that even makes it even cooler of a track. I got some laps in yesterday, and had some fun getting around here. It's long. It's got that long straightaway there, and it does have that street feel to it, a street racing feel to it. But it was kind of fun. I was back-to-back weeks here. I have new tracks and another fun experience out here. So excited to see these guys get another race in, and we're already halfway through this season, Carl. I mean, just like these races, there's so much action, and boom, we're halfway through this thing.
Yeah, half of the season done, and we'll take a look at the point standings, and you see it as Craig Jancic on top of the boards by 9 points over Colin Winslow, as both of them are doing plenty of battling this season. Chris Hamilton in third, Seviani Madrigal starting to come alive lately, and Devin Young, your top 5 in the pro class. Over in the M class, Anthony Jenkins has had a good start to the season, but I haven't seen him up towards the front too much, and a nice race by Nicholas Coate last week has him only 7 points back in second. Jim Dutton with a win this year, Renan DeLima with a win this year. They're both tied for third, and then Brandon Potts with the good run last week. He is now sitting in 5th place, but it's certainly up for grabs. Nobody is running away with this on, excuse me, on either side. Yeah, Mr. Jancic may have had some good runs lately and is looking pretty good over there in the pro class, but it's not just been a walk in the park for him. He's had competition every single week, and even looking at last week, it was pretty much a 4-car breakaway for quite some time, and it's the kind of race that we'd love to see over here.
Yeah, I mean, Craig was going for 4 in a row there, and had a little bit of issue with contact with, I think it was Siviani, and kind of knocked him out of the race there. But Colin was able to reap the rewards of that and get a win. And then, going back to this AM class, Jenkins has missed the last 2 weeks, but now he's back, and he cannot falter the rest of the season here, as we only got 2 drop races, for the points. And if he runs into any kind of trouble, this AM class championship is going to get really, really, really tight going down here to the end. And I mean, you look at that point standings, and it's, I mean, if Jenkins has one bad race, Jason Potts in 9th is not out of this thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's that close, and it can get flipped on its head in one race.
Yeah, this is the last technical track, if you want to consider a technical track here on the schedule. The rest of the season opens up a little bit. We got Red Bull Ring coming up next week, and then November has Watkins Glen, Fuji, and Sebring as the 3 tracks. And I know Sebring can get a little bit tighter, but there's plenty of knowledge from these drivers on Sebring, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue when we head there for the season finale before we head to the 2-hour team-only event for the last race of the season at the Daytona Road. But the qualifying is complete here for tonight. Let's go ahead and take a look at the starting order. And it's going to look like this. In the pro class, Craig Jancic on top of the boards with a 135.396. Colin Winslow in second. Chris Hamilton in third. They got Andrew Walker, Bryce Reiner, your top five. Savannah Madrigal, Skylar Vickroy, Devin Young, Frank Pisano, and Steve Brown are going to make up your top 10. Herbert Pineda, Christian Torres, Jonathan Neal, Tyler Torville, John Nominger, and Morgan Smith, your 16-car pro field. Over in, excuse me, the AM class, points leader on both sides here. Anthony Jenkins is on the pole for the AM class. Fozzie Fazillo, Nicholas Coate, Jim Dutton, and Randy Ayers, your top five. Then you got Jim Herrick, Todd Torville, Brandon Powell, Glenn Lazana, Renan DeLima for your top 10. And then Jason Potts, Nick Russell, William Burrell, Paul Bailey, and Stefan Price going to round out the 15-car AM field as we got a nice little 31 drivers out here tonight, and it's going to be tight. I mean, you see it's wide enough, certainly for two cars. You can get to racing here, but man, when you're at full speed, that grass just seems to really kind of close in on you on both those sides. And oh, by the way, there's not too much grass until you get to these barriers.
Yeah, I think it's going to be similar to last week, right? I mean, it's fast track here, but it's kind of, you know, narrower than most that we've had so far this season. So it's going to be, I mean, obviously qualifying is always important, but I think it's going to be more important here. So, and in passing, I'm not sure where these guys are going to be looking to pass. I'm guessing in these heavy braking zones is going to be about the only chances these guys are going to have to get some passes done, unless, you know, they have issues or whatnot. And that ever-looming radar is moving in as well. So it's going to be something to talk about as this race progresses.
Yeah, currently we look at the radar, and it doesn't look too bad. It is, it's a nice track temperature out here for the drivers, 67 degrees and cloudy, but there is weather that is potentially going to come into play before this thing is over. So we'll see what happens. All these drivers out there on the dry tires right now. It's a dry track. There's nothing to worry about right now, but you see in the background, you see how gray these skies are. It's not sunny. It is the definition of cloudy, and it's not nice little fluffy clouds. They're angry, and it's just a matter of time before they potentially open up, and hopefully for these drivers it holds off, but if not, this track is going to get even tighter. It's going to be a little sketchy out there in the wet conditions if that's what we end up coming up to. But Craig Jancic, Colin Winslow are going to lead them off on the front row here as the pace cars are going to stay straight and head into pit lane. Go through the tight little section right here, and on the left-hand side there, now on the right-hand side, that wall on the outside is the Wall of Champions, and it's certainly one that can bite a lot of drivers here if you're not paying too much attention coming out here. But we are racing here at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve.
Hopefully these guys can get all the way through here and get this thing settled in.
Already some lockups, but it looks like so far everybody making it through. Certainly some 3 wides, even some looks at 4 wide the way it seemed, but heading off into the first chicane. This is where you really need to try and figure it out. You kind of need to get single file, as you see. That's what can happen if you're not. Already car through the grass. There's Bryce Reiner going through the grass. Looks like he did save it. You see him right there, still hanging on to it, but now is when it just kind of files in, and Reiner now blinking a little bit too. That's certainly not what you want to be doing.
No, not when you're in bumper-to-bumper traffic right there. Because Reiner had a very good qualifying up to 5th there. But he's going to fall back here at the start of this race.
Looks like, for the most part, I don't see any kind of issues here on the start. Knock on wood. I mean, we're not through the lap just yet, and we head down in the hairpin for the first time. And this thing, it just feels like it's a small little hairpin, but it feels like forever. As there, we got an issue already. Nicholas Coate involved. Looks like Nicholas Coate, Bryce Reiner, Anthony Jenkins involved in that one as well. You've seen it live. We'll take a look at it again here in a second. Before we finish, or after we finish this lap here, it looks like Craig Jancic gonna hold on.
Ooh, points leader, jump to the pits. That's what I talked about in the opening there. It's not what he needed.
Oh, another incident right there.
66. Randy Ayers, Brandon Powell involved.
John Nobinger involved, Tyler Torville. Randy Ayers getting involved. And the Wall of Champions getting some action right away.
William Burrell jumps to the pits. Nick Russell jumps to the pits. Wow. Pandemonium on that one.
We'll take a look at these incidents here in the beginning. I didn't see anything here with Skylar Vickroy. It could have been what the lockup was right here.
Yeah.
I was seeing the beginning. Oh yeah, right there, actually, right in front.
Yeah.
A great
That's
save.
what happened to Reiner.
Great save right there.
Yeah.
And then Reiner went off track, but this was the second incident. This is heading down into the hairpin, and he's, oh, you see right there, the 54 getting off track, and when he comes back on, catches the back end of the 18, hooks him into the wall. Hard impact. Some major, major damage there. And then, unfortunately, Reiner just kind of caught up and gets tagged out there as well. That's Nicholas Coate with some heavy damage.
Nicholas Coate. 1 and 2 in the points. Wow. We're going to have a big shakeup here.
Yeah, Anthony Jenkins, you see him right there. He ended up towing back to pit lane. Then a little bit later in the lap, Bryce Reiner, I think, just trying to
he's just
trying to kind of collect it. And it's, you see, it is hurt. It is hurt bad.
He's angry.
And then later on, to finish out the lap, going through the final chicane. See right there, the 8.
Siviani.
The 8 of Morgan
and
Smith.
Randy Ayers.
That's the 8 of Morgan Smith right there, getting into the 66 of Randy Ayers. And then John Nomier gets pushed into that as well. The 911, Todd Torville getting into it a little bit. And I think Randy Ayers is the one that you're seeing right there, getting a heavy impact, and you see them just kind of drifting across the track, and right there, just pandemonium on the start. Some more cars getting together. And that's how quick it can happen here, coming out of the final chicane. But several cars jumping in the pits. William Burrell jumping in the pits. Nick Russell, Todd Torville, Renan DeLima, Randy Ayers, all jumping in the pits before they completed a lap. And then Nick Russell tried to come back out and ended up jumping back in the pits. And same thing for Bryce Reiner. Ended up coming back out from the pits. Car is fixed. It's back out there. And then just goes straight and decides to come back into the pits from there. So that brings you back up to speed, and man, hectic, crazy. The rain hasn't even dropped yet, but a lot of the guys have dropped from the field and had to jump into the pits. But up front, it is Craig Jansen, Colin Winslow, Chris Hamilton, Siviani Madrigal, and Devin Young for your top 5.
Wow.
Over in the AM class, Fozzie Vazillo is the one that is leading, and he's in a nice sizable lead now with all this action that went on. Jim Dutton is the one that is in second, Glenn Lazan in third, and Jim Herrick and Jason Potts for your top 5. So this thing has gotten crazy very quickly, and I mean, some of the names at the bottom, I mean, Bryce Reiner out of the race the way it looks right now. Started up there in 5th place, a great qualifying effort as you mentioned earlier, and now he's done. Anthony Jenkins, your points leader, coming in, missed last week, and is here this week and looking to try and get back on the winning foot. Not going to happen tonight. He's done. He's going to finish in 30th. Nick Russell in the pits, and again from the beginning, looks like he's getting some damage repaired. I don't know if we'll see him back out there. Stephen Price looks like he didn't even take the green here tonight. But I mean, Randy Ayers, William Burrell, Renan DeLima, all down there. Todd Torville, John Nominger. So many guys involved in this first lap incident here, and it seems like a wide track, and especially going down the backstretch here, it seems like it's nice and wide, but man, it gets tight through these little chicanes, and you're seeing what can happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's we talk about the old stuff and the big one, and man, you got a blocked track like that, and then you got guys trying to get around it, and then just more getting in there and getting collected. It gets clustered pretty quickly, and guys have nowhere to go. And yeah, this race is going to flip the standings in the AM class upside down. I mean, huge opportunity here for Jim Dutton. You know, coming in third in points, running second right now. And with first and second having issues, looks like Coates back up to 8th in the running order there. So maybe he can salvage something out of this day.
And of course, Coates
back up to the top 5.
8th in the AM class and is about 2 seconds behind Brandon Powell right now. But once he gets to Brandon Powell, he's got a big jump up to the next car. But again, we've seen this before. You can't really count anybody out, especially if they can make it back to the pits under their own under their own control. I mean, Nicholas Cope, one of the drivers that had to tow back to the pits, but if you can make it back to pits on the first lap under your own control, you can fill that car up and make it all the way to the end. So all these drivers that are in front of him, you know, from Brandon Powell. Brandon Powell's the first one in line that has made a pit stop. Everybody from him on back has come into the pits, but everybody in front of them needs to make a pit stop. So we'll see how everything shakes out. But we had some more incidents here, and this one involving Jim Herrick and I believe Jason Potts as well. Oh, just clipping the grass right there. And then, unfortunately, it shoots him back out on the track, and Jason Potts gets collected as well. See, Potts spun backwards. And man, this has been a season to forget for Mr. Jim Herrick, for sure. I mean, sitting right now in P4, but you see he's bringing that car into pits. Now, again, this is a situation here. He got back to the pits by himself. He was in 4th coming into the pits. So if he can get in here, get that fast repair real quick, top that thing off on fuel, make this thing all the way to the end, he's certainly not out of a podium position just yet.
No, he's... Oh, okay. I thought he wasn't taking out a fast repair.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Okay, there. He missed a stall there. Just a little early there, Jim. No big deal. We're good. Yeah, just get that thing filled up and get back out here on the track, and you know, maybe he'll be on by himself there for a while, and it's probably going to be a boring race like he had a couple weeks ago there. Let's see, when was that? 2-3 weeks ago when we talked to him?
It seems like
week 2.
Yeah,
week 2,
I was going to say, it seemed like ages ago that we talked to him, and I think it's only been that time this season, and it's been quite some time.
It was a similar situation. I think he had troubles there early and was able to come in and get his fast repair and fill it up and then just ride. He said it was a boring race, but hey,
sometimes boring is good.
Yeah. Especially being faced on the podium like that.
You see how much curve the Lambo taking there from Greg Jancic, and a Lambo 1-2 right now. Jancic and Winslow both in the Lambo, and we even see a couple more Lambos down in the running order as Glenn Lazan, Morgan Smith, Ren DeLima, Bryce Reiner, all in the Lambo here tonight. And I'm not sure if you've seen that on your screen or not. Clouds are opening up. And this is...
Here we go.
This is what those drivers that had to come into pits early here, this is what they did not want to see. Because this could mean, if it comes down heavy enough, that they're going to have to come back in the pits to take those rain tires. And this is the toughest part of rain racing. If you come out there and the track is wet right away, you know what you got. You're going to go out there in rain tires, and it's just, it is what it is. You got to find your line, and you got to drive in it. But races like this are by far the toughest. When you have the transition, you got to try and figure out when do you come in to switch from dries to wets. Do you come in to switch from dries to wets? Because sometimes you get a rain and it's not dumping enough water to actually warrant the pit stop. So this is tough. This is where you, as a driver, you really need to feel the car. You need to feel the track, because as soon as you pass pit lane, you're guaranteed you need to come around a full lap, and that could be the lap where the rain just opens up and you are out there for a slick lap.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if, you know, like you said, what was that rain race we had earlier this season where we were on, you know, it's kind of a mixed bag of what everybody was doing there, wet or dry. And to your point there, maybe they don't need them, but I don't know how it is on this track. You know, I don't know if it's going to pool up or you know, it doesn't look like it's heavy right now.
Yeah, there was a
looking at the radar, not looking at the radar, it doesn't look like it's going to get too heavy, but will that make a difference on this, on the track here? And on the, we'll see. We'll have to pay attention to some of these curves and stuff too. So
You certainly see it's coming in. It's a little bit heavier in some spots on the track right now. Some spots it may not be even raining at all. You know, like you're looking through the sector right here, just a little bit of rain right there, and then it just gets some heavier spots as you turn back in towards the kind of the inside of the island, if you want to call it that. But you see already Greg Jancic trying to feel out that track. You see he's not weaving back and forth because he's losing control. He's trying to figure out how much grip is in the track right now. Is there enough to stay out here on dry tires and go around another time? And you see him really trying to take some different lines here, different angles to see what is going on here and trying to stay away from any kind of potential puddling. You see down the backstretch here, it doesn't look like it's raining too hard. We'll hop on board here with Craig and get a good look at what he's looking at.
You know, and you know, this puts Colin in a really good situation, I believe, here, because you know, Greg's the leader here, so he has to kind of figure the track out for himself. You know, he has nobody to read and see what he's doing. So Colin can kind of just see what Craig's doing, and then if he sees a mistake, then you know, correct it before he has a chance to make that mistake, before getting into it as a turn. You know, if this thing starts to lose any kind of grip.
You see already kind of sawing at that wheel, working it, coming out of turn number 2. And you see just really hard to try and get grip coming into the chicane there. Doing everything he can to get it wound up. And I'm wondering if this is what played into the factor of the Lambo. Maybe, you know, the Lambo can handle the rain a little bit better than some of these other cars. I mean, we've seen for the last how many weeks, the McLaren just being all over the place. So many McLarens out there in the field. Not the case here tonight. It's not half the field of McLarens that we're used to seeing. There's a lot less out here tonight, and a lot of Porsches like usual, but more Lamborghinis than I think we're normally used to seeing out here. And I mean, this is tough. I mean, I feel like right now is kind of right about where that transition is. He may be able to make it around one more lap without it being too crazy, but you see already struggling. And it just takes one mistake on these dry tires in the wet, and you're just going to go shooting right through a corner.
Yeah, it's unbearable. It's so bad. You're just like you're on ice. You have like no chance. It won't steer, it won't stop, it won't do nothing. I mean,
Jason going to stay out for another lap here. Chris Hamilton is going to take that pit stop, though. He's going to be the first one into the pits. Most likely to get those rain tires, and he's hoping now. This is the other situation. You got to keep an eye on that weather, because now when you come in for those rain tires, you better hope it stays raining the entire race. As we got actually a couple more. It looks like Nicholas Cote was in. Todd Torville, Ren de Lima, they're all switched over to the wet tires. Got to assume Chris Hamilton is going to do so. And now the question is, will the little short pit here by Hamilton gain him positions, gain him time, and maybe even gain him the lead? As Hamilton and Walker in, we got a plethora of guys in here, as we got about 7 or 8 guys coming in that lap. But staying out, Craig Jancic, Colin Winslow, Silvani Madrigal, Skylar Vickroy, Tyler Torville, Herbert Pineda. Leader now in the M class, Jim Dutton stays out. And it looks like Morgan Smith, okay, no, he didn't come in. I was going to say Morgan Smith came in and came back out in the dries. That's not the case. He stayed out. He was one of the guys that stayed out. But Chris Hamilton obviously wins the drive off of pit road. He's the first car on wet tires. I would assume we'd see the rest of the guys in this lap. I don't think they can try and chance it one more time. As you see, Colin Winslow maybe making up a little bit of ground here in the wet.
Well, I was just looking at the last lap, so we're about 6 seconds off pace. Well, Craig and Colin are from their best lap of this race to once this rain started. That last lap there, went from a 135 to a 141. So yeah, we'll see if they come in this time. And if they don't, yep, okay.
Oh, big low bobble right there as Craig comes in here trying to get everything that he can. Yeah, you see those lap times there really starting to drop off as 136s, and then right to 138, and then 141. So now is the time to get in there.
Can't afford to lose any more time, especially with Chris pitting there. We'll see if that one lap can net him some spots here, or at least some time.
Hamilton now coming down at the backstretch. So maybe Randy Byers and Steve Brown.
Okay. I just seen a slow car up from in the background there.
So Hamilton coming through the final corner. You see him right there on the left side of the screen. Jancic now down and rolling. But he's still going to come all the way through pit lane. He should be able to come out. Yeah, he's going to come out with a nice sizable lead there. Will Colin Winslow be able to get out ahead of Hamilton? Just going to hold on to second. But now both Jancic and Winslow got to get those tires up to rain racing temperature. Chris Hamilton already has a lap on those tires. Doesn't look like any kind of puddling or anything yet, but you certainly want to get those wet tires. It's you got to get them heated up enough, but you can't overheat them.
Yeah, it's definitely a different situation than Lamar, because I mean, it's not really heavy rain here, but it's definitely, you can see these cars. The traction is not there right now with those dry tires, but yeah, Chris has already got a lap down, and they get a little battle here with Walker and Young.
Everybody on the wet tires now. Looks like the last couple drivers now coming in. Jim Herrick in the pits. I'm not sure if he stayed out one extra lap. If he did, that's really gonna hurt him. But man, a little bit of a gaggle here, and Morgan Smith off. That's going to allow, looks like Tyler Torville and possibly Glenn Lazan to get on by here, but Morgan Smith can stay to the inside here. He's going to hold off as Lazan goes wide. No, that was not Lazan. It was a lap car.
I thought Siviani was number 8. Was he not, or am I not? That had me confused.
I thought so too. Yeah, I don't think he's 17.
Yeah, maybe he switched or something. So I thought for sure he was the number 8, but that's what got me confused in that first that lap 1 incident and stuff. Yeah, like you said, everybody on.
It was Jim Herrick.
I
had it confused here. It was Jim Herrick that was that just came in and got those wet tires. So. Colin Winslow involved in a bit of an incident here. We'll take a look and see what happened here in turn number 1. And that's not the way the car needs to be pointed, and luckily keeps it off the grass. Gets it back going here. Only lost a spot, but they lose a spot there to Chris Hamilton.
But lost a lot of valuable time there.
Pisano had a bit of an issue here coming into the hairpin. We'll take a look here real quick. You see just kind of bounce around, and that was a good catch and a good save there.
Yeah, good job there.
14.
Way to really minimize the damage there.
It was Randy Ayers. That's the one we've seen now go a little bit wide. And
he's still on a drive.
And that's what happens when you stay on a dry. I mean, he's trying to make this thing work, but that is not the right tire of choice right now. Even had another off. Unfortunately, Jim Herrick looks like he had a bit of an issue here as well. Heading into the hairpin, we'll take a look here real quick before we go back live. And just trying to get in there and get all he can. And again, a good save. I mean, that car was kind of skipping. It wasn't full-on hydroplaning, but it was certainly skipping. But
yeah.
Still a very close battle here. Christian Ortiz-Torres is kind of he's right there in front of second place, Mr. Jim Dutton in the AM class, and may even be holding him up a little bit. So the last year's champion holding up second place right now. But both of these guys are a good 3, actually almost 4 seconds behind your leader in the AM class, and that is Fozzie Vazzillo, who is now going through the hairpin. I mean, they can see him. It's close, but in this rain, that 4 seconds is going to feel almost doubled to try and catch up, because you can't just push a little bit harder and try and get a little bit more. It's slow is fast.
Yeah, it's looking like you're starting to get some spray here. I wonder if visibility is going to come into a factor here. Because it looks like the track is getting saturated pretty well. I don't see any puddles quite yet, but
I'm on board here with AM-class leader Fozzie Vazzillo as he's riding behind Herbert Pineda. Get an idea of what the spray is looking like.
It's not too bad right now, it doesn't seem like, but it's starting to, you can definitely tell it's starting to pick up.
may have had a bit of an issue here. We got to take a look as your leader. They have the same situation here coming into the hairpin, just getting a little bit wonky here, but you see right there, had to really fight it. That's going to allow Hamilton to close in here a little bit.
Yeah.
Some more incidents as, man, that the hairpin entry is clearly an issue. As here we see Nominger getting a little bit squirrely heading in there. Gonna hold on to position there. Andrew Walker, same thing.
I just keep the camera right here, Carl.
Absolutely. And that, I mean, you can see it doesn't matter what. I don't see anything for Fozzie. It doesn't matter what maker model you're in here. I mean, every one of them is dealing with some kind of issues here, going to the hairpin.
Must have just registered to slow down or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't see anything on my side for Fozzie, but Joe, we blinked a couple times. We're halfway through this race.
I know, Carl. It's amazing. I mean, it's just. I mean, when you get so many cars on the track like this, I mean, and there's just so much to talk about and to go through, and there's times where some of these guys don't even get touched just because there's just so much going on sometimes, or some battles don't even get, shown because there's so much action on the track everywhere.
It's the battle for
19th right here.
Yeah, there's a battle for 5th place in the M class. Brandon Powell on the left there, and Paul Bailey on the right. Looks like Powell can make the pass. I'm liking the paint scheme there on Brandon Powell. It's funny. We used to talk about that a few times in the core Discord, that there's not enough white cars out there, not enough white painted cars, and sometimes just a good, clean white car will spin out in turn number 1. We apologize to Brandon Powell for any kind of commentator's curse having him up here on the screen, but still a good looking paint scheme, and he got that thing spun around nicely, but he's going to lose that position back to Paul Bailey again.
He just wanted to run him back down again.
That's what it was. It was fun the first time, tried again.
Yeah.
Looks like, unfortunately, Jim Herrick has towed it back into pit lane after going off track, so another rough night for the Ferrari team. But not so for your leader, as Greg Jancic starting to stretch his legs out to a 4.2 second lead over Chris Hamilton. And first time I think we've seen all season, you see he's still struggling for grip, that we've seen kind of a lead start to blossom and get a little bit bigger. I mean, there's been so many races this year that it's been a battle all the way out there, at least in the pro class. But this one, I think the rain is the great equalizer, and it really brings the talent out of these drivers, or lack thereof, as Jansen goes a little bit deep there and going to allow Hamilton to reel him back in and get it back under 4 seconds. And you see how quick that time drops. I mean, it was 4.2 seconds. All of a sudden, one corner, half a second.
Yeah, and it's okay. You see him taking a way more conservative there, way more conservative line, maybe adjustment. Good job on Craig's part there. And it's not very often, Carl, that you have a track temperature lower than ambient temperature.
No, not at all.
63-degree track temp.
And I think that's because of this weather in the area, and the rain is certainly not going to allow that temperature to creep up at all. It's going to keep it nice and cool. As we got a bit of a battle here. Tyler Torville trying to look for a way around Christian Ortiz Torres. This is the battle for 11th and 12th in the pro class.
Tyler out here on the Corvette.
Looks like John Nominger having a bit of an issue here.
Ooh,
it's getting a little bit too much into the first sector, but all in all, looked like it was going to be a good save, and then he just decided to do a little bit more lawn maintenance.
He's putting on a show there for Walker.
That's what it is. That's what it is. He's celebrating a little bit early. Torville still trying to look for a way around Ortiz Torres heading into the final chicane. Once again,
ooh, wow,
hanging that thing out there, trying to get any kind of grip, and right behind him is Mr. Jim Dunn looking for another podium. This is, I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to say it, but this has been one heck of a year, even up to this point for Mr. Jim Dunn. I mean, obviously the man behind the curtain here at CSRL, but typically we're talking at the beginning of the year, end of the year, just about how the season's going to go, how the season went. We don't get to talk to him that much during the season itself for top 3 finishes, but we've talked to him already twice this season, and he's looking in line like he wants to get a 3rd time up here in Chapman this year.
Yeah, and he's, like I said, he's got an opportunity here to, you know, have a really good points day. I mean, and maybe possibly walk out of here with the points lead. Kind of how, you know, these things shake out. But we got Nicholas Cote up to 4th. Wow, what a great comeback here for him.
Yeah, Anthony Jenkins is going to be out of the race. He's going to finish back there 14th in M class, 30th overall, as that goes a little bit deep. But yeah, looking over here at Nicholas Cote, certainly a great drive back here for the 18 car, as he is up to 4th, and he's got 3rd place in his sights, closing in Glenn Lazan. We know Cote's got plenty of speed, but he got caught up in a major wreck in the beginning in the hairpin, and now he's had to fight back. He's going to take that the tow. He got the car all fixed up, and he has been making a charge ever since, and this is one heck of a comeback. If he can come all the way back here, get himself a podium yet, which he is certainly looking like he's trying to do. He is driving that Ferrari as hard as it can possibly be done right now, and closing into Glenn Lazan, he's going to easily have a chance to maybe take him either entering the hairpin here or even getting a good run coming out. Looks like he's going to have to wait just a little bit longer, but he's got time yet. He's got over 15 minutes, and there you go. Easy as you like. Glenn Lazan makes a little bit of a mistake. Now they're going to be in a drag race all the way down the backstretch.
Yeah, and Cote here in the only Ferrari in the field. He's going to clear him.
Make that pass.
He's got a little ways to go to check, run down 2nd place, but
that's only 33 seconds, you know.
just a ways.
Well, up at the front, it is not 3 seconds anymore. It is up to 6 seconds of a lead for Craig Jancic.
Oh, wow!
As he's still trying to make his mark there on the wall of champions, and I don't think he should be getting a little too racy out there. I mean, it's 15 minutes left in this race. He's got a nice size of lead right now, but he doesn't know any other speed other than just go out there and go fast. I mean, we've seen it before. You know, it's gonna fuel save a little bit, but I think he realizes one mistake can kind of end your day here, and it's tough on these rain conditions. You have to be smart. You have to watch the track and see if there's any kind of puddling. You got to avoid it. And sometimes you got to take some outside lanes through these corners because of the puddling, and just because there's more grip. You see him right here, kind of a little bit on the outside, heading into the corner, and then back to the outside for the second part. But you can't just go slower, because it just takes one little boost of the throttle, and that back end's going to come around. You still have to kind of drive the track.
Yeah, I mean, to that point, you know, you still try to push as hard as you can, but you obviously maybe rein it in just a smidge, but you still want to try to push as fast as you can, because, like you said, one little mistake, and then boom, Chris is there. So if you can stretch this thing out to 6-7 seconds, if you make a mistake, yeah, you're going to be okay.
You got some time to recover.
You got time to gather it up and get going. As you can see, the track started to pull up here in some of these turns. That rain is
we'll try to take a look at some lower camera angles here and see if we can see what this track is looking like. It certainly looks like it's puddling on the inside right there of the chicane, and that's when you see him kind of drifting out a little bit more towards the outside. And I mean, these curbs aren't too high, and you can take some of them here in the rain, but certainly these ones here in the corners, you see it's really starting to puddle up on that inside line right there. And almost pretty much as we say it looks like it puddled up even more as we were just watching it.
You can just see where it's puddling, and then where the guys have been driving and pushing that water out of the way.
You see even on the inside there, the hairpin. I mean, you're going slow enough there that You can get on that puddle if you absolutely need to, if you want to really try and keep it tucked in the inside there, but great looking views here.
In a braking or in a acceleration zone, that's just, you know, rolling and rolling in the center of it. If you try to do any one of those braking or getting back into the throttle, you know, it's not going to be good.
Torville trying everything he can to get around again. This is not a battle for position with Fozzie Fazzillo. Fazzillo leading at the AM class, and Torville wants to get around him so he can fight with the car in front. That is for position. That is Christian Ortiz Torres in 11th place in that black Porsche right in front of Fazzillo, and you see Torville really trying to, you know, kind of push the envelope here. I mean, he's there you go. Fozzie Fazzillo's got to realize his battle is not with Torville.
Good move right there.
And Fazzillo himself has got about 5.5 seconds back to Jim Dutton, so he's got a bit of a buffer. No sense pushing it and getting crazy as. Let's take a look at a couple more instances. Looks like same thing, just into the hairpin here from your leader.
Yeah, my thing's lighting up like crazy, but it's got to be right there.
Yeah, I think it just slide a little bit, and it has an issue with it. Here's Andrew Walker. This was not into the hairpin. This was a bit of a slide, and
we did that earlier in the race too.
Very, very close. Colin Winslow, this would be into the hairpin, and then Devin Young into the hairpin as well. So it's not like in a hairpin, but man, you look at the gap that was closed up already just from when we left to coming back right now. Torville is on the move. He's got that Corvette hooked up today. It's been a while since we've seen the Corvette get a little bit racy here, but the Corvette of Tyler Torville pressuring the Porsche of Christian Ortiz Torres right now for 11th place. But you see, Joe, that spray is getting a little bit worse out here.
Yeah, it is. That's really going to affect these braking points and what these drivers can see here. And already a tight track and sloppy conditions. And Tyler here's got this thing gripped up. Yeah, we've seen him lose several times, but it seems to be kind of what he likes here. He's able to get through the field here and put some pressure here on Christian. Look at that view. Oof.
So you want rain in iRacing. Late break there from Torville and right into your kitchen right there. Torville wants this position bad, and he is driving for it. He's looking around. I don't know if he's looking around for position or if he's looking to just get in there for visibility, but side by side, down the middle stretch here, heading down into turn number 8.
Christian's going to have the advantage here.
Oh, a bit of a bobble there from Torville.
He's going to go over through the grass.
And he's going to have to rebound and try and run him down one more time, which I know he doesn't want to do, but I don't mind it. That was a fun little drive for Torville to catch up there. We'll see if he can do it one more time.
He tried to get it all back in one turn right there.
Meanwhile, at the front, Hamilton has been left behind by Craig Jancic, but he has not left Colin Winslow behind. Winslow is back in the mix here. He won second place from Hamilton, and he is right on the bumper here, less than a second, 7/10 of a second, separating second and third right here. As we come into the waning minutes here, 10 minutes left, actually down to 9 minutes now left in this race. So we only got a few laps left. But Colin Winslow has reeled in Hamilton, and this is the battle for second place overall.
Yeah, it seemed like Hamilton was gaining on Craig there. You know, once the rain started and they switched, got these rain tires on, but it just slowly faded on for Chris here. I don't know if it's just isn't able to find the grip. Obviously, he's in a different car than your leader and Colin here.
Well, again, I wonder if that's where, you know, Craig and both Colin are in the Lamborghini. Chris is in the Porsche, so I'm wondering if that Lambo just maybe handles the rain a little bit better.
I was kind of surprised to see the Lambo. I don't remember it being that good in the rain. It seemed like, obviously the Porsche is really good in the rain, but with this kind of track, you need to
I mean, maybe with the
a little more speed.
Maybe with the the kind of wider wheelbase a little bit. Maybe that's what kind of helps somebody. You see riding on board here with Winslow, you see that puddling up there on the inside of those corners, certainly in the first chicane right there. Winslow has caught up to Hamilton, but can he make the pass, especially in these treacherous conditions right here? Tyler Torville, in the meantime, he has caught back up to Christian Ortiz-Torres as we'll take a look at a bit of a bobble here. Once again, coming into hairpin. And Torville had a chance to get to the inside and did get to the inside.
Wow. Oh, he gave it back to him.
Gives the position back, and the gentlemanly thing right there. And Zach had a move there by Tyler Torville, or maybe I thought, you know what? I did it once, I did it twice, third time. Now I'll finally come up here and pass you. Well, he's got 7 more minutes to mount this third and hopefully final charge for him to get around Ortiz-Torres here for 11th position. Jancic, Hamilton, Winslow, Madrigal, and Neal are your top 5 in the pro class, with Mazzillo, Dutton, Cote, Lazan, and Bailey in your top 5 in the end.
Yeah, speaking of making a charge, we're gonna have a battle here, Carl, for the win in the M class.
And don't look now, but Fozzie Vazzillo's lead down to 1 second, and right there you see from the nose.
And Jim is charging. It was almost 2 seconds faster that last lap.
And you wonder what's going on here with Fozzie Vazzillo. He's been very fast all race. And even had a decent qualifying spot, qualified 14th overall. I believe it was second place in the M class, but not liking this rain as it gets wetter out here on the track. He's starting to struggle.
Yeah, I wonder if it's a fuel situation maybe, but I gotta believe maybe not, because the race pace was pretty fast the first couple laps there until the rain started. So the fuel calculators were probably based off of that. And I know these guys like to keep it, razor thin on that line there, but maybe he's just struggling here.
Well, it's a good thing these headlights work on these cars, or you wouldn't even be able to see Jim Dutton through all of this spray.
Yeah, all you see is 2 lights there. No car. Oh wait, there's a car.
Now again, just like Winslow, he's got to figure out how to pass him, but Winslow did just that. We'll take a look at the battle that ended up ensuing. This was down into turn number 1. Winslow briefly had the lead. Hamilton fought back. Winslow had at the inside in turn number 2. And he was able to take away second place from Hamilton. So we'll switch back to the battle for the lead. And a little bit deep there from Dutton. Doesn't lose too much time. Collects it back up here and still got a chance, but the time is ticking away. Less than 5 minutes left now in this race.
Yeah, he's got 3 laps left maybe here. This is it right here. This is his last charge. Once he gets to him, if he can get back to him, it's got to be get to him and make the move as soon as you get there, because time is ticking.
Meanwhile, third place, Nicholas Cote is still trying to make a charge. 26 seconds back, but I mean he's taking a good chunk out, all things considered.
Yeah.
Not going to be in the mix here unless these guys mix it up. But I mean, at one point the last time we checked in, when he was battling and just taking over third place, he was 33 seconds behind Jim Dutton, and now only 25 seconds behind him. So heck of a comeback, but a bit of a outside slide there from Fozzie Vazzillo is going to bring Dutton back a little bit closer. It's 1 second lead here. Not going to get the white flag this time by. It's going to be close if we get it next time by, as we check in with our leader, Craig Jancic, who is heading through the end of the mid-stretch and down towards the hairpin. And judging by the time, I don't think he's going to get the white flag this time by, so it should be 2 laps to go. So still time. But how much was Fozzie Vazzillo kind of holding back? Was he just trying to play it a little bit safe and now maybe turning up the wick here a little bit and trying to hold off hard charging at number 83, Jim Dutton? I mean, what a story this would be if Dutton was able to get up here and get a second win on the season after, again, I mean, I don't know if we talked to him as a winner at all until his win earlier this season. Am I wrong with that?
I think you're correct.
I mean, he may have had you know, a win or maybe more before CRN picked up the broadcast, but I don't think he's ever been on the top step.
When he got that, I thought he said when he got that win, that was his first win.
It might have been, yeah. Yep. You see him taking a different line here just to get a little bit of sight, and big mistake there from Vazzillo. Going to cut the track, and that could end up being a slowdown. Does he have enough room in between him and Dutton? I mean, this may actually work out for him. He's got such a nice little gap right there. He may be able to just take this time off. He goes wide in the hairpin.
Can Jim take advantage here?
Dutton is right there, but still not close enough.
Wow. He's able to manage that slowdown. That is impressive.
Looks like he has. It's down under a second. But they're coming up with some traffic right in front of them. This was the battle that was seen earlier with Tyler Torville and Christian Ortiz-Torres, as Ortiz-Torres has gotten back past Tyler Torville. So that battle for 11th is still going on, and still no white flag in the air. I would think Greg Jancic is going to see it this time by. So 2 laps to go for Jim Dutton to try and steal away a win here from Fozzie Vazzillo.
I think he's really fast through that first little sector right there. If he can stay on him and maybe make a move down that front stretch into this 1-2-3 here. Oh,
a little bit of slide there. And you can't blame manufacturers, both of these drivers and the Porsche, but where and when can Dutton make the attempt? And it could take a mistake by Vazzillo to open up that door, and you see a little bit of mistake there again from the 61. We've seen him have issues on the last lap going through the mid-stretch here and even in the hairpin, so he's not without mistakes. But can Jim Dutton close up fast enough and far enough to be able to capitalize? And again, another mistake from the 61 of Vazzillo comes back on the track, but Jim Dutton is going to make that pass. Nicholas Cope too far back. So we'll switch it up to our other battle on the track. We'll see how this one plays out now, as, again, should see the white flag this time by. Ortiz-Torres has claimed that spot back. Trying to take a look and see when he made that pass back, and here's where he got it back. It looks like Torville had a bit of a slowdown and had to give that spot back. So we'll get back live here, see if Torville can try and run him down one more time. It's 1.1 seconds at the line.
No Barney?
Barney doesn't do wet weather. Torville closes in on the back.
They went back inside.
It was down to half a second there going through turns 1 and 2, back up to 0.6 of a second, but Torville is trying to get up there one more time. He's had the speed to pass him a couple times now, and I mean, if you're Jim Dutton, you're just hoping these guys figured out quick. You don't want any kind of issues right in front of you. You're looking at another win here in the season. You can't have 2 guys wrecking in front of you. But Torville wants this position again. He wants it bad. But can he get close enough to make one more attempt on Christian Ortiz-Torres?
Yeah, they've been battling here for this second half of this race here. I mean, they've just been glued to each other.
Oh, Torville was a little bit deep there, but he's able to save it with a little bit of a slide. Maybe have 1 more or 2 more opportunities here into the hairpin. If he can't get it done, then he's got to worry about getting a good drive off the hairpin and try and get him before the chicane. A good defensive line there from Ortiz-Torres, but a good rotation from Torville. This thing is not over just yet, but a little slip out of the corner that might end up doing it. Starting to lose time now is Torville, and I don't think he's going to be able to catch him. Meanwhile, at the front, Craig Jancic is going to be your winner here tonight. Winslow in second, Hamilton third, Vic Roy, a good drive there. I haven't really talked about him at all here tonight, but Vic Roy is actually in eighth. It's all jumbled up here watching this battle right here, but coming down to the line, got very close again, but COT going to hold him off. Again, it's going to be Jancic, Winslow, Hamilton, your top three. Neal and Madrigal going to finish out the top five in the pro class. Jim Dutton going to get it done here in the AM class. Fozzie Vazzillo in second. Nicholas Coe, I mean, a heck of a drive back here. This could be potentially a championship-winning drive here. That with Anthony Jenkins having the issues, and Coe could have been looking up at Jim Dutton, but this may have saved his chances and may be able to save him from dropping down below Dutton with Dutton getting the win here tonight. Going to be very, very close and very interesting with these point standings. But, man, you throw a little bit of rain out there, and it gets a little fun to watch.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, what a great run from all these guys. I mean, I know lap one was really hectic, but we got the rain in here, and another rain race completed under these guys' belts at a really kind of a tough track here, especially in the rain. It seemed like these guys were having trouble trying to find some grip.
Well, I almost feel like the rain kind of opened up the race a little bit for some guys, because in the dry, this place can be a lot of follow the leader, and you really need to have that guy in front of you make a mistake, but the rain amplifies that, and the rain makes mistakes for you, and it allows that opportunity. So I think the rain actually contributed to making it an even better race here at the end. But as it stands, Greg Jancic going to get another win out here tonight by 5 seconds over Colin Winslow, who had a good fight back there to get second. Christopher Hamilton, Jonathan Neal, Savannah Madrigal, your top five. Andrew Walker, Devin Young, Skylar Vickroy, Steve Brown, Herbert Pineda going to be the top 10 in the pro class. Rest of the field going to be Christian Ortiz-Torres, Tyler Torville, Morgan Smith, Frank Pisano, John Nobinger, and Bryce Reiner. Over in the AM class, top spot going to be Jim Dutton getting another win here on the season. Fozzie Vazzillo, Nicholas Coke, Glenn Lazan, Paul Bailey, your top five. Brandon Powell, Ren De Lima, William Burrell, Todd Torville, Jim Herrick in your top 10. Randy Ayers, Jason Potts, Anthony Jenkins, Nick Russell, and then Stephen Price did not start the race. We want to give a shout out to Brandon Potts, not out here tonight, and if you paid attention all last week, having a baby this week. Right. So I want to give a shout out from CRN to the Potts crew. Hopefully everything turned out well, and get a nice healthy baby there, and hopefully we'll see you back out here as soon as you're allowed to be back out here. we'll just put it that way. Whether it's the wife or the baby, well, we'll see when you're allowed to be back out here on the track with us. But man, heck of a run up here in Canada. I mean, this was a great race. It's, again, with the dry conditions here at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, it can get a little bit, I don't want to say boring, but again, just kind of single file, tough to pass. But this little sprinkler rain certainly provided some nice big fireworks, and of course the lap one incidents didn't disappoint as well. But we've got most of our top three here from both classes, so we'll go ahead and start off with the pro class here tonight. Looks like we got all the pro class drivers, so we'll get them in here first, and we'll start off with Christopher Hamilton, as Hamilton was your third place finisher here tonight in the 20 in the pro class. And Chris, it's not a bridesmaid position, it's third place, so I mean, maybe you're happy with that, but man, you had a chance. You took the earlier pit stop, you took it one lap earlier than the two guys you were battling with up in the front, and it was enough to get you second place. But then Winslow just had a little bit too much to get up there. Was it at all because of the car choice? We've seen both Jancic and Winslow in that Lamborghini here tonight.
I don't know, man. I've gotten passed twice now in the rain. I went and did some homework in the rain, and these guys, there's no crack in either of these guys' armor. I'm just lost.
Well, you got some more homework to do, apparently. But yeah, I mean, How was it out there? I mean, this track can be tight. It can drive like a street course. Compared to especially the rest of this the schedule here this season. But you throw a little bit of wet weather out there, and it looked like the biggest trouble spot was getting into that hairpin. It seemed like a lot of guys hydroplaning or skipping or sliding a little bit sideways getting into that hairpin.
Boy, I even looked at that the rubbered in line wrong, and I was like hydroplaning, skidding, everything. I was avoiding it like the plague. And then I get past my call, and he's running like mostly the rubbered in line. I'm like, well, I got passed on the wet line at Le Mans. I got passed on the rubbered in line here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. So I don't know, man. Maybe it's the Porsche. That's the Porsche both times.
Maybe you got to talk to your team. Maybe they put the inners on and it should have been the wet tires. I mean, that's about the only thing I can think of at this point. But I mean, either way, it was a tough race out there. Certainly some drivers having some issues, but for the most part, the pro class kind of stayed clean and stayed together, and it was not easy competing up here with these guys, and it's never easy when Jancic is on a run here. But you had a couple looks at him, you were able to reel him in a couple times after the pit stop. Did you think maybe at that point you had a chance before you started checking out?
Maybe a little bit glimpse of hope, and then he pulled away from me like a second and a half when I did the exact same thing. So I was like, well, he found an afterburner, he figured it out. So I don't know if I wore out my wets beforehand. I failed to believe that was the case, but I don't know. I'm kind of sitting here scratching my head. No, those two are crazy good. Like, they're better. They have raw pace on me. They have raw pace in the wet than me. So I don't know, man.
Other than that, yeah. All right. Well, either way, you get home a third place here, and it's still a good points day, and still a lot of racing left in this season. Still got 4 more races after tonight. So, do you still fancy a chance that maybe you can figure something out, do a little bit of homework, and maybe take a run at these guys, and maybe go another win or two before the season's over?
I would hope so. The amount of homework that I have, not even in this, is absolutely ridiculous, and these guys are doing the sim racing homework when I can't, so but it kind of shows. I don't get as much time as these guys do. These guys probably put in, like, we'll say like 50 laps, and that's already 50 laps ahead of what I'm able to do, because my first crack at the track is when I show up.
I mean, so, if we need to have a word with any professors or anything like that, just let me know. Me and Joe can let them know, like, hey, listen.
I'll write you a note. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll write you, exactly. We'll write you a note. All right, buddy. Well, congrats.
I'll send him something.
Congrats on the third place here tonight, buddy. Who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Huge shout out to Parks de la Cruz for the amazing iRacing safety car paint scheme. The Porsche, I don't know, people have kicked my butt in the Porsche, but this thing, it still drives really nice. It's very, very nice and predictable in the rain. It feels more like me, but it looks, I hope it looks really good out on track. It's one of my favorite paint schemes. Huge thank you to all the guys out there. Lots of decent sized fields pretty much every time I've raced here, and thank you guys for the broadcast.
Absolutely, buddy. Well, congrats again on the podium. We'll let you go celebrate, and we'll see you next week.
All right, see you, boys.
It's your third place finisher here and the pro class of 20 of Chris Hamilton. Second place, Joe, is going to be the 19 of Colin Winslow.
Hey, Colin, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got a copy.
Hey, man, come away second here tonight. You got passed by Chris there in the pits, but you're able to reel him back in and get around him there to get second here tonight. Kind of talk us through your race here tonight.
Yeah, I think he passed me when I spun, but
that's right.
Yeah. No, I didn't do any rain practice, and I kind of was like, okay, it'll be kind of intuitive, like once it starts raining. But to be honest, this track threw me for a loop as far as the rain goes. It felt like there were puddles in places that I was not expecting puddles. I couldn't figure out what line to brake on. It wasn't until about probably 4 or 5 laps into the rain that I finally figured out a good line to take all the way around. And I also I overfueled, which was dumb on me because I knew it was going to rain and we were going to use less fuel, but I forgot to change it. So I took way too long in the pits. But overall, it was still a fun race.
Yeah, talk about the transition from when it started raining. It seemed like you guys weren't out there very long. We could see you guys slipping and sliding around, Was it that bad? I mean, was the transition that horrible, and you guys just had? I mean, you guys went an extra lap than Chris, but
yeah, it was actually
that transition there.
It was actually extremely quick, a lot quicker. Craig and I were just talking about that. It was a lot quicker than we expected. Probably about 2 laps after it had just started sprinkling. It was difficult to get around the track. So yeah, that happened a lot quicker than I was expecting. And the rain came sooner than I was expecting to. I was looking at the radar and it said we had about a 15-20% chance 15 minutes into the race. But that came a lot quicker than we were expecting.
Do you maybe any kind of I don't want to say regrets, but any kind of adjustments you would like to maybe come in like a lap earlier or 2 laps earlier to go ahead and kind of maybe get in front of it? Do you think that would have made any kind of difference?
Honestly, no. I think Craig and I pitted at the perfect time because I don't know what Chris's fuel situation was like or how long his pit took. But considering that I overfueled and spent way too long in the pits and still came out in front of Chris, I would say we timed that about perfect as far as the tire change goes. Yeah, I mean, that's really it. I mean, it was a silly mistake for me to spin like that, but at the same time, like, I'm trying to figure out a good wet line to take throughout the track, and so that requires pushing the limits, and sometimes you're going to make mistakes doing that. So,
yeah, well, you come away second here tonight. Fortunately, Craig gets the win, so you're going to lose us a little bit of points, but still a couple races left to go. Still some chances here. What kind of what race are you looking forward to here as this season is starting to wind down?
Unfortunately, the one I'm looking most forward to is probably also the one Craig's looking most forward to, and that's going to be Sebring. But yeah, I would say, I mean, the whole schedule looks great. I don't think we have any more races where it looks like there's a chance of rain, which is good, I guess. Fuji's the only one I'm dreading.
All right, well, congrats on the second here tonight. Before we let you go, anybody want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, just shout out Chris. He was a lot of fun to race against tonight, so shout out Chris. That was a lot of fun.
All right, well, congrats, and we'll see you next week.
All right, sounds good, boys.
Second place finisher here tonight in the Pro Class, the 19 of Colin Winslow. Top spot tonight in the Pro Class and overall is going to be the 3 of Craig Jancic. Craig, a fun race here to watch for sure, but tell me what it was like in the car. I mean, I talked to to everyone out there and Joe and said that these conditions right here are the worst. If you get into a track, it's completely dry or it's completely wet, you know what you're getting. But these races that have that transition, they suck. I mean, mentally they suck, in my opinion. They're just tough to try and figure out when that transition is.
100%. Honestly, the whole race, I was just worried about what was going to happen that was going to steal a win away from me. Because as you know, that has been a plague of mine for the last like 3-ish weeks between Tuesday and Wednesday night. So I'm really happy that I was able to hopefully break that spell in perfect time to continue along here. But yeah, super confusing weather onset here. I don't know if I missed an update. I was just talking with Colin and the guys, the rest of the podium that's in the green room waiting for you guys here. And we all thought that these dries did not stand up the way that they used to. We all don't know if we missed that in some update details from iRacing with a dry to wet track. But I mean, the moment it started raining, I was like, I almost missed that corner. And then the next corner, I was like, wow, I missed that corner. And if we just toss it back to Le Mans, what was that, a month ago, maybe 5 weeks?
Yeah.
When we had a similar onset, we were on dries for, I think, 6 Le Mans laps, which is the equivalent of half a race here, and we couldn't do 4 minutes of mist here. So extremely challenging conditions. I kind of hate that it rains because this is such a fun circuit to be on the edge, because the wall is everywhere and the wall is everything, and the wall will kick your behind if you're not smart about it. And instead, we had to be a little bit more mindful about it. So I already told Jim I'm going to beg for a street course in next season so that we can make up for what happened here today.
Gross.
Oh, it's the best.
I personally don't like street circuits just because it's so tough to try and find the passing opportunities. But that's kind of what I brought up with this rain here. I mean, this is a track that can be a little bit follow the leader in the dry conditions, and it's really just you kind of racing the track and staying off those walls. But passing can be very rough out here. But this rain certainly, maybe not necessarily for you, since you led this thing pretty much from green to checkered, but it certainly it upped the anxiety a little bit, I think, for some of these drivers, and a couple little mistakes, and it allowed some passing to actually happen. But it seemed like the biggest trouble spot was getting down into that hairpin. It seemed like no matter what line you took into that hairpin, you were going to be sliding some way or another.
They were all pretty tough. Honestly, the corners that required probably 2 gears or more of deceleration, I found to be pretty difficult with the wet conditions. I don't know I regrettably don't know the name of the corners here, but let's see. The one before the hairpin, I thought was actually my biggest struggle point. That's where I almost lost the car the highest number of times. Even in practice in learning this track yesterday, was definitely my hardest thing to do in the dry. Was that prior chicane that with the weird bridge. I know I sound like the highest level of racing aficionado calling a corner like that, but that was my struggle point. The hairpin, all I was trying to aim there was for the straightest exit for the highest miles an hour down the longest straightaway, and try to take advantage of it that way. And it was kind of working. That was a place where I was routinely gaining 0.4 of a second on Colin and Chris in that little sector. So I don't know what it was, but I was quickly shown that it was a really good idea. But yeah, this was the hardest rain conditions that I've done, and I've only done not that many tracks in the rain thus far on iRacing. So yeah, if you guys want to challenge, toss some water on this place. It was a really, really, really invigorating, anxiety-filling time.
The last question I got for you is Lamborghini tonight. We've seen both you and Colin out there in the Lamborghini. We've seen a few others out there in the Lamborghini. Probably the most Lamborghinis that we've seen in a field so far this season. Was that by choice? Did you feel like that might have been the best car for these type of conditions?
We have this ongoing fully friendly discussion in our Discord server about car choice every week. I am someone that believes that there's always going to be a car that does each individual better every single week. And this week, I could launch this car off the final chicane curbs 0.6 of a second per lap better than any other car. That's all I needed to know. That was my full driver. It was lucky for me that the Huracan is the car that I prefer in the wet. That was just kind of happenstance. And I was thankful to be able to adapt to the wet conditions really, really quickly, because percentage-wise, this race should barely have rained. But that's not reality. And instead, I needed an umbrella to get here to the broadcast booth today. Yeah, that was just pure happenstance. And honestly, the lap time was so much better in this car compared to anything else. This was the only thing that I could hit 35s in at all. The Mustang, I think I did a 35 like 93 yesterday. But it was only going to be those two, and I feel bad for all the Mustang havers that were out here in the wet, because that's 3 handfuls, and I don't know about you guys, but I only have 2.
Yeah, that there was only one out there. Andrew Walker was the only one out there in the Mustang, but pretty fitting that tonight's track was on an island, because that's pretty much where you were all tonight, just out there by yourself and trying to lock this thing down, get yourself another win, stretch out that points lead, and head into the final 4 race of the season. So congrats again on another one out here tonight. Who's going to get the shout outs or thanks tonight?
Yeah, huge thanks to you guys at Core. Thanks so much to all the effort that you guys put into every broadcast you do, not just the ones that I'm affiliated in. It's awesome to watch what you guys do, and I just hope to continue to be part of your rise. So thank you, and thanks to all the viewers as well. Thanks to everybody that supports me, Team Conti Sim Performance, Studio 3, Martin PC, Sim Magic, oh god, I'm all out of order. Digital Sim Sports, Freeburn Hot Wings Morning Show, and thanks to my family, Mom, Dad, Aunt Sandy, Anna. Thank you for watching, supporting me, and thanks to everybody that shows up here every Tuesday night for our CSRL shenanigans. We're still 30 plus. We still got a few weeks left to go here, and we're really excited for the continuation of this season. And we're not all that many weeks away from planning for season of the future. So yeah, it's a great time to get in. If you're watching on iRacing, you want to do GT3 stuff, jump in our Discord. We've got plenty of fun to offer you guys.
And unless that fun involves trying to get a win overall, as it's going to be a tough competition for that. All right, buddy. Well, congrats again on another win out here tonight. We'll let you go celebrate, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you next week.
Loud and clear, guys. Thanks so much.
That is your overall winner here in the Pro Class of 3 of Craig Jancic. Switching over now to the AM class, and heck of a drive back, and it took one heck of a drive back after the first lap incident for the 18 of Nicholas Cope. But Joe, he's come home in third.
Hey, Nicky, got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Hey, man, once the season is over, possibly you winning a championship, are you going to look back at this race and pinpoint that this was one of the races that kind of did it for you? You had that lap 1 problem there, and then able to come back and third here tonight.
Yeah, I have no idea how I ended up on the podium. Got in that wreck on lap 1. I think it was kind of like a racing deal. I think I braked a little early and to avoid the person in front of me, and then Anthony unfortunately ran into me and took us both out. But yeah, it was recovery drive.
Yeah, just talk about that. Like, was there any kind of panic? Was there any what was the kind of the thought process there? I mean, it's lap 1 and you get into a crash, and then you got to come to pits and get the fast repair, and I'm assuming you took fuel at that time too as well to maybe make it to the end. Or do you have to come back again to get the wet tires put on?
Yeah, I had to come back for the wets. I was surprised it drove. That was a hard crash, probably one of the hardest crashes I've taken in this kind of car. But I'm surprised it drove. But then I came in and I was looking at the weather report, and I was just hoping it would cycle through that everyone had to do a pit stop before the rain. But then the rain came a lot sooner than I think all of us were expecting, and then it was quick. The crossover period was a couple laps. Like the first lap, I already had a little bit of spray off the car in front of me, and then it was just within 2 laps you couldn't stay on the dries anymore.
Yeah, it seemed like it was very fast. I mean, once it started raining, and that's kind of been not really how it's been here. So usually you get a little bit more time than that, but it would just kind of happen all of a sudden, and you guys had to come and get those wet tires. And you were in the only Ferrari out there tonight. So is this something that you're just comfortable with in this car?
I'm just a Ferrari fan. I've liked Ferrari since I was a kid, so first race I came out with the BMW, and then I switched over to the Ferrari, and I just like it better.
Yeah, you made it work here tonight, so I don't think it's really popular in the rain, but you come away here in third, so congrats on that. And like I said, it's probably going to be a pretty big race by the end time of the season comes here, and you're fighting for a championship here. Jenkins had his problems, and he's kind of already on thin ice, already missing 2 races, so it's really going to shake up the standings here as we got a couple races left here, so we'll see how this all shakes out for you. But before we let you go, anybody want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, shout out for you guys for the broadcast, Jim and everybody at CSRL. This is probably by far the funnest league I've ever done. Having a good time every single Wednesday night.
All right, man. Congrats, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, see you guys.
That is your, excuse me, your third place finisher here in the AM class, the 18 of Nicholas Coate. Doesn't look like we have Fozzie Vazillo on tap here tonight, so we'll just go ahead and switch it over to your winner here tonight. And man, 2 wins on the season. What's going on?
Oh, Canada.
Second win on the
Honestly,
season, Jim. I mean, we were talking to me and Joe were talking, and I believe you said that your win this season was your first ever win here in the league, and at least on CRN, it feels like it's been the first ever win. But I mean, this has been one heck of a season for you so far. I mean, the competition has not exactly gotten easier, as we talked about before, but now you see yourself with 2 wins and a second place to boot.
Yeah, I wish I had converted that second place to a win just to say I had 3. But it's been, it's been good. It's been a great season. I wish I could erase last week from memory, but it's nice to rebound back and get this, because up until 2 laps left, it didn't look like I was going to get it either. So.
Yeah, I mean, it was not easy running down Fozzie, and he's got speed. He's not exactly a slouch out here, but it made a couple mistakes, and even you had a mistake there to kind of lose ground to him. But it seemed like the end of that mid stretch, that chicane at the end of the mid stretch, was his demise, and it looked like he was going to give it to you a lap before he did, but. He just kind of hung in there and stuck in there and made that Porsche work around here in these rainy conditions, but it didn't look like it was too easy. It looked like there was a lot of slip sliding out there.
There was a lot of slip sliding. It was tough. I'm not a huge fan of racing in the rain either, so the fact that it went this well for me is I'm beside myself. It's great. It's fantastic. And in Canada, a track that I don't really do all that well at either historically. So
well, I
mean, great.
You like racing in the rain. You like winning. I mean, weather changes. I know the schedule is already set, but hey, weather changes from day to day. So I mean, if we happen to see rain the rest of the season, it is what it is, right?
So, honest question for you: does it make for better broadcasting?
Well, on a track like this, and I talked to Joe about this, and I talked to Craig about this. A track like Circuit Gilles Villeneuve typically ends up being pretty much follow the leader, and you really need somebody to make a big mistake to be able to make it pass. There's not really long enough straightaways to get the draft done. It's really just trying to absolutely execute a perfect pass to get any kind of pass done. But you throw rain out here on the track, it makes it tougher for guys to drive around here, and the mistakes start to pile up, and that's what allows for passing. So on a track like this, any kind of street course, I personally recommend rain, because so you can at least see some passing, because to me this is it's not a street circuit, but it is, in my opinion, it's tight, it's not that much passing opportunities. So I consider this a bit of a street circuit, and anything that is like this, I think the rain just it increases the chance of guys screwing up, and that's what's going to lead to passes.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I would agree with that, especially at a track like this. You have to be probably 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds past to get, or faster than the car in front of you to really have a good chance of getting beside them and passing them. Well, either that or force a mistake from them to get around. But anyway, it's we might look at doing some more rain races for next season. We've kind of made the schedule and made the promise that the 2 rain races that we have had are the 2 rain races that we will have all season. It would be nice to have another rain race like Le Mans, because that was really interesting. There were a lot of strategy calls that people had to make, and some got it right, some got it wrong. This one, it was pretty cut and dry. Like, as soon as it started raining, within 2 laps, the course was declared wet, and everybody had to put on tires. There was no, oh yeah, I can get around, whatever. No, it rained hard enough that it was really, really tricky really tough sledding getting around on those slicks, and he had to make the changeover really quite quickly. I was actually worried about hitting the wall because I had just got around the second corner when the spotter announced that it was declared a wet circuit. And generally, when that happens, you don't have much time before you need to make that change.
Yeah, typically it takes kind of a few laps for it to really get to that point. Like like you mentioned, it's even on on the overlays, it'll be dry and then slightly wet, and it seems like it goes through about 6 different phases before you absolutely need to come in there for tires. But yeah, I mean, it was kind of a mass exodus. It was 2 straight laps where everybody ended up coming in on one of those 2 laps to get those tires. But hey, listen, at the end of the day, it's another win here for the 83 team, and with the incidents with Anthony Jenkins, I mean, finishing second last in the field. Nicholas Coate made one heck of a drive back after getting involved in a first lap incident to finish in third, but it's got to be looking pretty nice here for you guys in the 83 camp to maybe reach for that top step on the point standings as well.
I hope so, and the team championship as well. I kind of I'd like to see where we're at after this week too. I'm not sure where Devin finished. He's usually pretty strong though. So, Devin
finished in 7th. Yep.
Nice. I am more than okay with that. That's a strong showing. It'll be good. I'm in. He seems like a cool guy too. Like I'm glad I paired up with him. But anyway, yeah, tonight was a lot of fun. I don't know what else to say about it. It was just it was good. It was good.
Happy it's over.
Happy it's over. Renan DeLima almost took both of us out at one point. Last turn, first lap, I ended up hitting I don't know who I hit. I need to go back into the replay, but there were 2 cars in front of me that were battling, and they were going into the final chicane, into the turn of champions, and one of them went into the wall, collected the other one, and that was that was something. I hit them, and then I think John Nobigger behind me really hit them. So.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I mean, it happened. I mean, that's, even though that was in the dry, that's the Wall of Champions will claim some victims. It's kind of like the Darlington Stripe. It's you're going to have some guys touching that Wall of Champions at one point or another, and just happened on lap 1 and caused a bit of a melee for sure. But anyway, either way, congrats on your second win here on the season, and I feel like you're just doing it because you want to talk to us, and I get it. It's fun. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. The win is nice, but the chat with us is just so much better. So,
we put a lot of work into gathering the resources to make this happen. So I want to get my money. I want to get my money's worth.
Absolutely, buddy.
Absolutely.
All right, buddy. Well, again, congrats on the win here tonight. Who do you want to give a shout out to?
Well, you guys first and foremost for putting on this wicked broadcast. I really do appreciate it. It gets me through my cardio. The admin for helping with all this. Everybody, my girlfriend, everybody who puts up with me having like half a car in my basement. And just everybody who's involved in this league too, because we wouldn't be where we're at without any of you. So thank you.
Absolutely, buddy. Well, congrats again on the win here. We'll let you go celebrate, and we'll see you next week.
Okay, sounds good. Look forward to it. Talk to you soon.
That's your winner here in the AM class, the 83 of Jim Dutton, Mr. Jim Dutton, if you will. Well, Joe, that's going to wrap up another one here for CSRL. And again, another great race and some storylines throughout the race. But I think the storylines are going to start painting that picture in that AM class.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch that, unveil and see who's going to come out on top there as the season ends here. A couple races left. But, man, how long until he wipes that smile off his face. That's going to be there for a couple days, I believe. But Mr. Jim Dutton there, you could just hear it in his interview there. I mean, the smile is there. I mean, I know, he got to win in the dry, and now he's got to win in the rain here. So, hey, I mean, what's next? The championship?
I mean, it's in the cards for sure. I mean, he came in tonight. He was in a tie with Renan de Lima in third place and slipping back just a little bit, 9 points back behind Nicholas Cote and then another 7 points to get up there to Anthony Jenkins. But Jenkins, again, like you said, with the races already missed, so the drop races are already kind of in the fold. And tonight's race is going to end up counting for him and falling all the way back to second last in the standings here with Cote finishing in third and Jim Dutton finishing in first. Man, it's going to get tight at the top of that standings, and it's going to be a great, great Final Four races. Thank you to everyone tuning in here tonight. And if you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribing and get you in touch with everything that the CRN has to offer, especially right here at CSRL as they got some great racing both in the pro and the AM class, and really just any kind of skill level that you're in, you can find a place here and get in here, run a couple races here to finish out the season with them here and get ready and get amped up for season 11, which is not going to be too far around the corner, most likely at the top of the year here. But want to send a thank you out to our sponsors, 40 Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 sim racing shoes, custom engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, while still providing the comfort needed for those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products, including the original racing gloves for your feet. Rev up your iRacing experience with Replica Racing. They create custom liveries that make your car stand out on the track. Whether you want sleek, bold, or retro designs, their talented team delivers eye-catching, high-performance graphics tailored just for you. Make your mark in racing style with Replica Racing, where your design dreams hit the fast lane. Let's envision the future together. TTR Racing, this father and son team consists of Todd Torville in the AM class and Tyler Torville in the pro class, which you've seen plenty of tonight and some good battling. Just two guys who are here for a good time with good people and good racing. Thank you to our service members and veterans, TTR Racing. And thank you to Martin PC as well. That is going to do it for the CRN broadcast here from the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Round number 6 is in the books. Round number 7 is going to be coming up next week at the beautiful Red Bull Ring, and should be having some nice clear skies for that one, and should be some great racing as a fun track to race at and to broadcast at. So I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully you all are as well. But for now, we'll see you at the track.